Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Namaste, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I'm fairly certain I know all of you, but my name's Keith. And I want to start first, and I can't start without doing it, by acknowledging the passing of Representative John Lewis. He was and will always be a huge figure in the birth, the inception, the rolling out, the implementing of the civil rights movement in the 1960s. And from that time until tomorrow has played a huge role for the rights of Black Americans in this country. So I want to acknowledge his passing, acknowledge the passing of this ancestor, and wish his spirit fullness in the next plane. And then from there, I also want to acknowledge the fact that what we were just doing, chatting with each other and looking at this screen, I mean, it's become super everyday, and we do it all the time. We do it every day. It's become this sort of daily ritual, but there's something still kind of magical about it. The fact that I can sit in this room that probably none of you have been in, but some of you have gotten to know, and I can be in my house and I can experience my day, and we can check in with each other this way, and we can have these moments of connection even from far away, and we can have this sort of magical way of getting in touch with each other. And there's something, especially in what we're going through right now as a country, that makes that enticing. It makes me want to do it more than I probably would do it naturally. And that's a good thing until it becomes too much. Because I think we've all had the experience at the end of a day sitting in front of a Zoom meeting thinking, this is the last thing that I want. Or when we are consuming what's happening in the news media, on the Twitter feed at the end of the day, trying to keep ahead or abreast of changes all around us, then it starts to become too much. And when it becomes too much, that leads to disturbance, that leads to a disquiet. And so when it starts to go that way, as you have probably experienced, like most of us, our sleep especially gets disturbed. There have been a lot of dreams during these few months at home, and most of them are super weird, and I actually wake up remembering them. But it tells me that my sleep is not restful. It tells me that my sleep is not settled, because there's just too much coming in, and all of my senses want more and more and more and more of it, even though I can consciously tell myself and I can consciously decide, oh, I should step back from that. But there's a pull, because we're not actually having physical interactions with each other, because we're not actually in the space with each other, we tend to crave anything that will feel like we're making those kinds of connections. And so we begin to feed the senses. We feed that call for, look at this, listen to that, try to have the experience. And when we start to do that, we are falling prey to nature and to the changing qualities of nature. We're falling prey to feeding our senses rather than letting our senses be on the periphery as information gatherers. We are moving toward them and being pulled toward this river of change. And so to do the opposite in these moments is also important. To do these moments when we can consume and then step back, and then rearrange how we are engaging with the outside world, right? Because if it's just consuming and going toward the ego, then it's noise. It's just being pulled out of ourselves. But when we instead turn that back to the inside, it starts to change. Sleep becomes restful. The mind can start to quiet again. And we start to move instead toward the noise, we start to move toward vibration. why I brought the bowl out today. We're moving toward vibration instead of that. And the difference between noise and vibration is just that. Noise moves us out toward the senses, and vibration moves us toward ourselves, toward the soul. So to begin to move back toward vibration doesn't mean that we withdraw, right? So I'm not saying that we all have to step back from what's going on, that we need to be uninformed, that with the swelling revolution all around us that we all need to be a part of, I'm not saying that we step back from that. But I am saying that we rearrange how we engage with that. We start by moving inward first. We start by moving toward vibration first. We start by pulling away from the senses, withdrawing from them, so that we're not just swept away with them. And in doing so, moving closer to our truth, we can actually better serve. And maybe you've just had the experience of having a practice at home and knowing that when you engage with the discipline of practice, when you engage with the discipline of self-reflection, that alone prepares you differently to go out into the world and to be of service. But when we pull back from the senses, when we step away from the noise, and when we instead start to step in toward our soul, the way that we engage when we do choose to engage with the world is far more meaningful. And that's really what we want, is to have meaningful action when we move out into the world. And that's when it becomes pratyahara, right? Someone I teach with says, when in doubt, go with number 5, right? And so if we look at that 5th limb of the limbs of yoga, of Ashtanga yoga, number 5 is one that we can go to. When in doubt, go to number 5. Pull back from the sway of the senses, right? Pull away from the noise. Move toward truth. Move toward vibration. And then, instead of our dreams being disquiet and our mind being disturbed, when we're at rest, our dreams have potential to find life and fruition in our waking state. Right? Take the example of Vishnu sleeping, lying on the waters, resting. And it's from that settled dream state that the lotus blooms out of his navel. And from that lotus opening up, Brahma inside, in the golden embryo, can begin the process of creation. So that's an example of the potential of dreams happening in a quieted state, in a settled state, in a state where the senses are not pulling us out, but vibration, truth, that primordial beginning is pulling us inward. And then what comes out of us is so much more meaningful. So let's start with that. Find a seat that works for you, and you can let your hands come up to your heart if you like. And allow yourself to breathe a little bit deeper. As your hands drop down, with your dominant hand, join your thumb and your index finger together for Yana Mudra and rest that on your knee. And with the opposite hand, draw your thumb to your pinky, all the other fingers together, and rest that down on your knee for Buddhi Mudra. So you have knowledge with Yana and the highest intellect with Buddhi. And I'll share the mantra for this sleeping Vishnu, for this restful potential, for this watery awakening. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana Hari. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana Hari. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana Hari. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana Hari. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana Hari. Om Namo Narayana. 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 Sit with the sound for a moment. Begin to turn your attention inward and let that vibration of the sound on the outside direct you to move to the inside. You can begin to loosen your fingers and uncross your legs. And then allow yourself to shift and move onto all fours. And give a leg a stretch out behind you. But then come to sit on your heels. If you want to slide something underneath your bum when you do that, go ahead and let that happen. Or if you need to sit some other way while you do that, also fine. And then you're going to use your hands again for a different mudra. So if you have glasses, you're going to take them off, but if you need them to see for a moment, just keep them on. And you'll start with one hand, and one hand will come up to your face so that your index finger rests on your eyelid, and your middle finger rests right on the outer edge of your nostril, beginning to block off sight and block off smell on one side. And then take your ring finger just below your nostril and the surface of your top lip, and then your pinky finger will come down underneath your lip. And so those two fingers will act as a way of also blocking out a little bit of smell with your ring finger, but also using the two fingers together, your ring and your pinky, to encourage your mouth to stay closed. So if you're dealing with your senses, it would be blocking out taste. And then your thumb just fits into your ear. And you're not trying to totally close off the sound. Think of, with all of these, minus the eye, that you're really creating a filter more than a complete blockage. That you're filtering what comes to you rather than trying to pretend that the senses don't exist. So you'll still be able to hear a little bit. You'll still be able to breathe through your nose. And then you'll still be able to feel what's coming in through your mouth as if something was coming in that space. So you don't need to purse your lips or tighten it, right? So it doesn't need to be uncomfortable. And when both hands, I'll bring my second hand up in just a moment, come up there, it becomes Shanmukhi Mudra. And this mudra is just that, blocking off all the information that wants to come into your head. Blocking out sight, blocking out sound, blocking out smell, blocking out taste, right? Touch is the one that you're not really blocking out, but because the other senses are muted and you're still, when you turn your attention to your breath, touch also seems less relevant. So as you do this, you'll set it up, bring it up to your face, and we'll take 9 breaths this way. So once you've got it set up, no need to hum. So if you're familiar with Brahmari, we're not going to hum, but set your thumbs up just to block off the senses. And then when it comes time, take a breath in. And then breathe it out. And then continue this way, sitting tall, allowing yourself to feel as much breath coming in, even though there's some constriction moving through your nose. Use that to bring your attention to your breath more. So the resistance of breathing in and not being able to take a full breath in the way that you're used to, let that take your attention inward rather than making it something about the outside. Continuing to breathe this way. That's about 4. Slowly exhaling through the filter. Breathing in again. Get heavier on your seat as you exhale. A few more times. Last couple. One more time. And then as your hands start to drop away, see if you can still feel this filter around your head. So that even though you've opened up the passageways again, that there is maybe less coming in, or things are coming in differently, right? And just allow yourself to sit with that sensation for a moment. Like having blinders on or having headphones on. One of those weird things that they advertise to sleep in that you can put over your head and put your hands in there and sleep while you're on a plane. Imagine that kind of womb space around your head for a moment. so that you're still aware of your senses, but not drawn out by them. Good. And then begin to shift yourself again onto all fours. And use that to stretch your leg out. And do that on the other side. And then once your knees are down again, swing your feet to the side so that you can roll down onto your back. And when you get down to your back, just pause and let the soles of your feet rest. Check your neck so that you're not adding any extra shapes to your spine there. And then slowly begin to bring your feet to your hands. So starting with happy baby. So at first, let things just land where they are. And then as you adjust, you can move a little side to side. And your grip can move around the pinky toe side of your foot. Pay attention here again to your neck and your shoulders. So when you feel like your shoulders are being pulled off the ground in a dramatic fashion, see if you can plug in. So you take the whole upper arm down towards your shoulder just to plug in a little bit. Feel some softness in your arches. So even though your ankle's flexed, try not to take any tension into your feet. And then every time you breathe out, sink a little bit deeper so you feel your sacrum spreading out across the mat underneath you. When you exhale, let your tongue soften away from your palate. And give your head a tilt from side to side. And feel like you're being held and supported by your embrace. So if there's any sense of struggle, reframe it. Reframing does not always change it, but reframe it a little bit. See if your belly can still fill up when you breathe in. A couple more times here. One more breath. And then as you let go of your feet, you can begin to bend your knees and draw your legs in closer. Hold on to the backs of your knees and rock and roll a couple of times. Until you come up to sit and cross your legs. From there, move one more time to all fours. And curl your toes underneath. Press your hips up high behind you. And then pedal through your legs and find some room. Move through your shoulders. A little bob and weave of your head. And then pause in your down dog. Soften always where you need softness. Breathe all the way in and out. With your breath in, bring your knees to the floor. And with your exhale, step your right foot over by your right pinky finger. Keep your right arm to the inside and snake underneath and just touch the back of your hip. Stretch your right leg long, roll onto your right heel, and then shift again toward the bend into your front knee and release your hand. Go to all fours for the breath in and downward dog with your exhale. Roll out long for plank pose. Drop to your knees, point your toes, sit to your heels. As you exhale, the backs of your hands touch the floor and your nose comes right between your knees so you can touch the ground with your hairline.
Press into your palms and the tops of your feet to add some doming to your back. And then soften that, sit to your heels, and use the exhale to find all fours. Curl your toes under, and then back to downward facing dog as you exhale. Inhale your knees to the mat, keep your toes curled under, and step your left foot over by your left pinky finger. Move your left arm under your thigh so the back of your hand can touch the back of your hip. Extend your left leg. Your right arm will get long too as you rock onto your left heel. Rebend into your front knee. Replace your hand to the floor. Move your knee back. And then downward facing dog. Stretch out long into plank pose. Drop to your knees and point your toes. Sit on top of your heels. Drag your hands back so the tops of your hands go to the floor. Exhale and roll your nose right down to your knees. Press the ground with your hands and your feet to spread your shoulder blades. And then lower onto your heels, have a seat. All fours with a breath in. And then back to downward dog as you exhale. Right from here, move your right foot over by your right pinky finger. Drop to your left knee. Snake your right arm under, touch the back of your hip. Extend your leg. Bow a little bit closer to the ground. Shift your weight forward. Press into your back toes. It becomes a lunge. And then unfurl your right arm into the sky for a twist. Inhale your hand down to the floor. And then step back, downward dog. Stretch out long for plank. Drop your knees, point your toes, have a seat. Tops of your hands to the mat. Exhale your nose down to your knees so you can really feel the connection. Press the floor, puff up, puff up, puff up. And then lower onto your heels. Mini rabbit. All fours with a breath in. Exhale into downward facing dog, high through your hips. Inhale your left foot over by your left pinky finger. Let your back knee fall. Snake your left arm under. Back of your wrist, back of your hand, lengthen through your leg. Bow close to the mat. Shift your weight forward. Release your hand. Open the lunge. And then exhale into the twist. Release your hand. Downward facing dog. One more time here. Roll out long for plank. Drop your knees. Point your toes. Backs of your hands. Drop your nose in between your knees. Press, press, press. Round, round, round. Spread your back. And then release. On your way to all fours. Downward dog. Walk yourself up to the front of your mat. Fold into yourself. Give your head a little shake. And flutter your lips. Ease your way up to stand. Let your arms hang down by your sides. Make any adjustments here that you need to make. And then use your breath in to take your arms up alongside your head. Gaze up. And then fold over yourself and touch the ground. Inhale your right leg long behind you. But then stretch out your left leg as you breathe out. Bend into your left knee. Inhale. And breathe out into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Roll out long for plank pose. This time bend your elbows. You can lower all the way or part of the way. Cobra or upward facing. And back to downward facing. Inhale your right foot to the front of your mat. And then join your 2 feet up front, fold into your legs, Uttanasana. Rise up with your breath in. And then release for a moment here in Tadasana. Take it up with your arms, reach high, grow long, gaze up. Fold forward, empty out, Uttanasana. Inhale your left leg back for a long lunge. And then lengthen out through your front leg. You can rock onto your heel or keep your toes down. Bend into your front knee. Downward dog. Exhale. Stretch out long, breathing in. Hug your elbows close to your ribs, lower down. You can gaze forward. Flip your toes, cobra or upward facing. Exhale back over your toes, downward facing. Inhale your left foot up to the front. And then step and fold into yourself. Bow down, Uttanasana. Rise all the way up. And release your arms by your side. Do it again. Arms up, reach tall. Gaze up to see your hands. Empty at your belly, hinge at your hips. Bow down, touch the ground. Inhale your right leg back. Again, stretch your left leg. Breathe in to bend your left knee, plant your palms, and step right back into Chaturanga, or you're lowering all the way. Cobra or up dog. And downward dog. See where your hands are and soften your knees. And you can step or jump to get there. Come to your fingertips and then fold it. Bend your knees to rise up, Utkatasana. And then release, Tadasana. Again, arms up, breathing in. Fold over and touch down. Send your left leg back, breathing in. Stretch out your right leg. Gonna rock to your heel and peel up your toes. Bend into your front knee. Step and lower right into Chaturanga or to the ground, or leave that out. Over your toes, upward facing. Back over your toes, downward facing. See the front of your mat soften. Use your exhale to travel. Stretch out long. Fold in deep. Bend your knees on the way up, Utkatasana. And release, Tadasana. And then one more time, Utkatasana. Bend your knees, lift your arms. Fold over and touch the ground. You can lean into your hands and soften your elbows and knees. Step or jump back, Chaturanga. Over your toes, upward facing. And downward facing. Pause here. See if you can remember the sensation of the filter. Sometimes it's in the moment of pause that the senses come roaring back to action. Do the opposite. Give yourself one more breath. Inhale your right foot forward between your thumbs. Stretch your right leg. Breathe out. Bend into your front knee and turn down your back heel. Exhale a cartwheel up for warrior 2. Broaden your reach. Sink into yourself. And just like the drawing in of your senses, draw your arms into their sockets. Draw your legs into their sockets. Tip back for peaceful warrior. And then when you cartwheel down, turn onto your back toes and pause. When you get here, Walk your hands forward so you can lower down to your elbows. And in this moment with your elbows down, it's important that you're on your back toes so you can close your left hip to neutral. Breathe all the way in. And then as you exhale, plant your hands alongside your right foot. Step and lower, Chaturanga Dandasana. Urdhva Mukha. And Adho Mukha. Inhale your left foot up to the front. Stretch out your left leg with your breath out. You can roll up to your toes or keep them down. Bend and drop your back heel. Cartwheel up and find warrior two. Lift for a moment, so feel the drawing out and then sink into it. Firm up with your back leg, so it not only presses, but it draws in at the same time. Notice when your hands get rigid or overactive or over dramatic. Tip back for a breath in. Cartwheel down around your front leg. Roll onto your back toes, and then elbow down. So kind of lizard here. Resist pushing down with your right hip. Stay lifted. Breathe all the way in. And then as you exhale, move your left hand, move your right hand. Breathe in and step back and lower down, Chaturanga. Over your toes. Back to down dog. Move your right foot forward the same way. Exhale some length to your right leg. Bend and drop your back heel. Cartwheel up. Warrior two. Right into peaceful warrior, breathing in. Cartwheel down around your leg. Drop your hands, turn onto your back toes, but then shift your right arm underneath. So you move your right hand to your outer right ankle, and then lower your left elbow into the floor. Press your back up to the sky. So you round like that mini rabbit. Let your chin come into your chest. And then release that. Anchor your back heel. Stretch your right leg. Move your right hand to the outside. And open right up into triangle pose. Breathing in. And feel a freedom from being down underneath your leg and then coming out into the world. One last breath. And then release your hand so that when you exhale, you step in lower, Chaturanga. Urdhva Mukha. Adho Mukha. Inhale your left foot up to the front. Stretch your leg. Rebend, anchor, and cartwheel up. Warrior two. Tip back for peaceful. Cartwheel down inside your leg, onto your back toes. Move your left arm under. So you can grip around your ankle. Same grip on the right side, but only one elbow touches down. So only your right elbow is down. Move your chin in and puff your back. So there's some roundness to your spine. And then as you release that, drop your back heel, lengthen your left leg, adjust your left hand, and open up, triangle pose. Feel the reach out of yourself. Maybe larger from having had that experience of going in. And then right from there, bend your left knee. Release your hands. Step in lower, Chaturanga Dandasana. Over your toes. Back to down dog. Inhale your right foot up to the front. Stretch out your right leg. Ground and bend as you rise right into peaceful warrior this time. Cartwheel down to the ground, both hands to the inside, you're on your back toes. When you go underneath your right leg, see if you can get more of your shoulder behind your calf. Take both hands back and turn your palms open like that mini rabbit. Chin to your chest, puff your back, puff, 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 puff. Right from where you are, as your chin comes out, drop your heel, plant your right hand next to your right arch, and open your left arm to the sky, side angle. Breathing in. And all the way around yourself with the exhale. So you can hook your left shoulder blade back some on your body. Release your hand. Step your way back for plank pose. Bend, chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing. Move your left foot forward. Exhale the length to your leg. Bend and shift right into peaceful warrior. Cartwheel down inside, onto your back toes. Move your left shoulder under your leg, behind your calf. Move your left hand and then your right palms up. Chin into your chest. Puff your back. As you come out, drop your back heel. Move your left hand next to your arch. Open your right arm into the sky. Coming into side angle. Utthita Parshvakonasana. If your gaze doesn't want to be up, you can turn it down. So sometimes looking up, looking out, takes you out. Right from there, both hands down. Step your way back. Lower yourself. Flip your toes. Open your chest. And back to down dog. Breathe all the way through your arms and all the way out through your heels. Give yourself one more breath there. And then see your thumbs and step or jump to the front. Come to your fingertips and then fold into yourself. Bend your knees on the way up. Utkatasana. And then release your arms down by your sides. Pause, sink into your legs. You might even close your eyes for a moment. Go one more breath. Good, and then simply step your feet wide into a prasarita. So set it up into the width that feels the most natural for you. And once your arms are wide, keep them wide. Breathe in across your reach and fold over. So in the initial fold, keep your arms out here. So feel yourself expanding, but use that absence of touch to draw in to your belly and exhale a little bit deeper. And notice where your thumbs are. So if you turn your thumbs to the ground and then turn them toward the wall that's behind you, your shoulder starts to internally rotate. Keep going in that direction. So you flip your hands all the way around. So your palms end up facing the same direction as your toes are going, but there's a lot more action in your forearm. You can really feel it on the radius side of your arm. And then see if you can fold just a little bit deeper, but then peek and open up your gaze. And then press into your legs and rise up. Pause and let your arms drop for a moment. Breathe into the pinky edges of your feet. So your inner arches lift up a little bit and tug your inner knees up. And then one more time, open up your arms.
Already begin to turn your thumbs down and around behind you. So you get this deep internal rotation and you'll dome your back. Fold over with your exhale. Bow, bow, bow. Perhaps your head touches down this time. Looking through your own legs. Give your pinkies a little bit of energy there. Notice when your arms want to close together, open them a little bit wider. That moves them toward the ground. And then start to rise. Adjust your hands. Heel toe your feet. And pause standing in Tadasana. Right now I'll mirror you. So shift the weight over into your right foot. Draw your left knee up. And clasp around your big toe. Great place to stop. Or you can begin to extend your leg and open your arm. When you get there, expand by lifting your heart. So rather than getting caught up in what your hamstrings don't or do or don't do, see if you can lift through your heart space and then transfer that room into your legs. That's going to help out later. And then soften and release again. Shift the weight over into your left foot. Draw your right toes up. Clasp your toe. You can peace grip. You can always stay here with your hand on your hip. Or as your leg starts to extend. And it's never force, right? Just to feel the openness. And then right from your breastbone, lift up. And then use that to find more room in both legs, not just your lifted leg. Breathing all the way in. And then use the exhale to close everything down. Pause on both feet. Sink into your legs. And I think one more time would be great. So shift the weight over. Draw up your knee. Grip around your toe. And then lead with your breastbone. So it lifts. Everything opens from that place, finding the room. One more moment. And then close it all down. To the other side, last time, draw it up. From your breastbone, so right from your center, open to expand. And you might notice that one side is more willing than the other. That's always the case in every conversation. And then slowly close it all down. Pause here. And then back up to the front of your mat. Bend your knees, lift your arms, Utkata. Fold over yourself, touch the ground, and then step or jump backward. Flip your toes. Meet up at downward dog. Reach heavier into your hands. Give yourself another moment there. And then shift your right foot forward. Anchor your back heel. Lift up for warrior one. Breathe into your back leg so it firms up. And then as your hands are coming down, like earlier, go to your back toes. But when you come down, put your right arm in front of your shin. Tense your hands. Bring your chin into your chest. Give yourself one more moment. Walk your two hands counterclockwise a little bit left. And then step your left foot in close to your right foot. And pause there. Lean your shin bone and your knee against your arm. And just pick up your left foot.
As you come out of that, stretch your left leg to the back, tense your fingers, send your left heel down without turning out too much, and then fold into your leg. Parsvottanasana. Even here, there's some spread to your shoulder blades, but still draw in with your belly so your breastbone can still move toward your leg. Bend to a lunge, step back through a vinyasa, or go right into down dog. Meeting up when your hips are high. Move your left foot forward on your way to warrior one. Take some of the bend out of your front knee. It's like a micro unbending, and feel how that changes your back leg. When both hands come down, turn onto your back toes, move your left arm in front of your shin so you can tense your fingers there. Bring your chin in, there's some of that doming. And then both hands will go a little turn to the right, clockwise to the right. Step your right toes in, perch on your back toes. And then slide it out. Get long as you anchor. Move your belly over top of your left thigh. And then fold over. Parsvot. Breathing all the way through your legs. The whole body experiences the ebb and flow of breath. And then shift to a lunge. Exhale out to chaturanga. Exhale out to your dog. Meet back up when your hips are high. We'll add to it. Move your right foot forward for warrior one. And then take your hands down in front of your right shin. Tense your fingers. Move your hands counterclockwise left. Step in. Lean. When you pick up your foot, extend your left leg toward the sky. Draw back into yourself. Step out for that same distance. Move your left hand over by your right foot and revolve your triangle. Keep moving your right hip back toward your left hip. And then release both hands on your way out to plank and chaturanga. Meeting up when your hips are high. Step your left foot up for warrior one. Empty your hands down. Go in front of your left shin. Your hands will go clockwise turn to the right. Step in, perch on your toes, chin to your chest so you can see your leg, belly even. And then your right leg will start to lift. Feels a little bit like a one-legged crow that went wrong. Step on back, lengthen, and revolve your triangle. Opening up. Take your left hip and roll it back. Your gaze can find the wall or it can find your upper hand. And then release. Step your way back through a vinyasa. Meet up at down dog. Take an extra pause there. Step your right foot up for warrior one. Inhale your arms long so that when you come down, you can do what you did before, your right arm in front before you tuck in. Or if you like, hide underneath your leg. You can use the grip, chin to your chest, and then hide your head. Pause here. Press into your arms. Step in. long through your right arm. Press your left leg up. And then tuck into yourself. Seated spinal twist. So the doming of your back becomes super important in that moment. Revolving around yourself. One more breath there. And then counter your twist over to the left. Before unraveling, stepping out, moving to plank, hovering or lowering. Open your chest. And then back to down dog. Move your left foot up one final time. Warrior one. Grow long. So when you come down, your left arm can go in front of your shin, you're on the back toes, or your left arm can go underneath. You can play with tucking your head behind your heel. Use your arms. Step in. You can stay there or extend your leg up. Before you come in, undo the tuck, seated spinal twist. Around yourself, going left. Lift your heart some. And then unravel, counter over to the right. Undo yourself, back for plank. Bend your elbows. Flip your toes. Start with down dog. But then walk your hands and feet toward each other. Turn out your toes a little bit. And sink toward a squat. Allow yourself just to land here. Allow some roundness in your upper back that you've been playing with. So you can feel your arms dropping inside your knees. Give yourself another breath like that. And before you go underneath, move your arms. So just like in Prasarita, turn your thumb so your shoulder closes. It's not about getting your hands together. Just to move your hands back around your hips. You have this rolling forward of your shoulders, some spread in your back. Press your hips up to your hands. And feel the pressure between the two things, between your arm and your leg. So they press against each other. And then soften that. You can keep that, or begin to lift your hips, move your hands back around your heels. Move your hips a little bit to the left so you can tuck your right shoulder, a little bit to the right so you can tuck your left shoulder. And then plant your hands behind your heels. Drop some weight onto your arms. Gaze forward some. Happily stay here. Or when you lift your hips, see if you can shimmy a little deeper into yourself. Heel toe your feet a little closer. So that when you begin to walk your feet closer, they might hook around each other and lock together, creating a seal, closing a door, pressing into your hands so that the whole shape floats. And then press your arms long and try to send your feet forward. Bhuja Pidasana. And then soften. Drop your feet. Slowly come up to stand. Smooth down your belly. It's often a stitch there. And then one more time. Start with a squat. Snuggle in and stop wherever it's best for you. Walking underneath. Plant your hands. Move your feet closer. Hook your ankles. Keep your ankles together as your arms get longer. And then try to send your feet forward. Arm pressure pose. Bhujapitasana. And then soften. Release. And ease up. Smooth down your belly. Give yourself one more moment there. Good. And then come to all fours. Sit for a moment. So after all of that coming in, reverse a little bit of that. When you come to all fours, drop your elbows as if you were going to set up for Pincha Mayurasana. Make sure your elbows are right under your shoulders. But then bring your hands around your jawline. Move your hips back a little bit. Just open your throat. You can stay like that, or press into your elbows and your toes and lengthen your legs. For a version of sleep pose, Shayanasana. Does it feel like sleeping? It's hard to talk here. And then release. Walk back. Have a seat. And let everything sink. Just to reopen the front plane, throat, chest, belly. And then one more time. Elbows down. Curl your toes. Hands up to your jawline. Curl your toes if they're not. Send your hips back. Open. And then from there, if you like, shift some weight, lengthen your legs. And then ease down. And walk back. Sink into your legs. And then if you have a strap somewhere close by, now is the time to grab it. So you can just have it somewhere nearby on your mat. And then once you do, lie down on your belly. Start with arms that feel like Sphinx. So continuing the idea of opening up your front body. Give your head a little tilt, side to side. Center out. And then slowly, simply come down. You can stack your hands under your chin. Rest for a moment. Move your hips. And then you can do Sphinx again, or move your hands so that they're in line with your chest. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. So after all that rolling forward, roll them back. Hug your elbows in. Keep some bend to your elbows as you start to lift. You can take your chin to your chest for a moment. Keep your bum as soft as you can. So there's a lot of heaviness in the heel of your hand without feeling as though you're shoving. Narrow your elbows in again. Draw into yourself.
opening up some cobra. Your gaze might lift some. And then ease down. Take another moment to stack and release. Move your hips. Good. Lay your hands alongside your chest. Come up to all fours. Have your strap close by. Extend your left leg out long so that you can pull your right shin forward for pigeon. And of course, you can prop something underneath your hip if that feels good, necessary, that's best. Pause there, deepen through your right hip crease. And if you know like this is enough, stay with your fingers, open it up, be here, right? If you like your strap, because we didn't really work on getting your shoulder ready to flip the grip. If that's a natural place for you to go, you can always go there. Or you can use your strap to loop your foot. And a short loop is better than a long loop here. So that if you do want to hook your elbow in close to your body, it feels a bit like what you do when you flip your grip. So you can draw in with your elbow towards your head and use that to open up your chest. Give yourself one more exhale here. And then slowly undo. Curl your back toes. Move your right leg back to meet your left leg, and then pigeon your left shin forward. Sink in. So whether you do anything with your back leg doesn't mean anything, right? No matter where you decide to land, most important thing here is to open up your front, to experience the heart opening and the back bending. So you can stay here, modify any other way that feels good, or add the loop back around your right foot. And if you hook your thumb in the loop, I find it's easier to drop your elbow in and rotate around. Having the strap makes it a lot easier for your elbow to come close to your midline, close to your head, rather than pulling out and being in that drawing out mentality, but to really draw in. Give yourself another moment to breathe into your chest. And then slowly release. Take your loop away. Step it out to plank. And then drop both knees. And come up to stand on your knees. You can have your toes pointed or your toes curled here. Move your hands to your hips. Move your chin toward your chest. Narrow your elbows to your spine. And then you can let one hand reach back for a heel. And the other hand might join the other heel. And then your gaze might find the ceiling. And always keep your head lifted in Ustrasana, especially if letting it go brings up any problems. Chin to your chest, press down into the ground, hand, hand, and then have a seat. Pause here. So feel free to have another Ustrasana, another camel, or you can use the last back bend time to lie down onto your back for a wheel. Graze the back of your heels.
Gonna sneeze. And then hands by your head, anchor into your hands and your feet. You can stay halfway lifted or press into the ground. And lengthen. Urdhva Dhanurasana. Chin into your chest. Roll your wrists around once you're down. If you're sitting on your heels, post-ustrasana. You can lie down if you like and let your knees go side to side, but we're going to meet up sitting in just a moment. And then find your way up to sit. And then once you're up, bring the sole of your right foot into your left leg. Let your left leg grow out of the socket a little bit, and then sink into both sitting bones. Walk your hands over to the right, and then get taller. Your left hand can cross over as you revolve to the right. Hook your right shoulder blade towards your spine. Notice when your left leg wants to flop out or roll in dramatically. See if you can find the middle point. And then undo the twist. Take your right peace fingers and grip your right big toe. Same thing with your left peace fingers down around your left big toe. Shift some more weight into your left sitting bone. And then peel your right foot up toward your face for shooting bow. Breathe up into your heart space. Take aim with your gaze. Release your left big toe, and then you can cradle your right leg for a moment, moving toward compass. But in this particular compass, when you take your leg over your shoulder, remember that connection you were making with your calf before? So you get your leg there, but then like earlier in your lunges, take your right hand around toward your back. So the back of your hand can press into your back. And then once you get to that spot, keep encouraging your leg to stay close to your body so it doesn't slip down. You can hold your hands, lean forward some to get some space, to lengthen your right leg, and then sit up tall again for a bound version of compass, Surya Yantrasana, Baddha Surya Yantrasana. And then slowly release and let your leg go. Take that much on the other side. The sole of your foot in. Grow your right leg out of the socket a little bit. Revolve left. Hook your left shoulder blade around your back. And then undo. Peace grip around your two big toes. And then coming into shooting bow, Akarna Dhanurasana. Drawing your left elbow back and up to encourage a lift. So not squeezing it down, because it kind of drops it down. But lift your elbow to lift everything else. Release your right big toe. Cradle your left leg. The cradling can be totally enough. Maybe nothing else needs to happen here. Or you can begin to move your leg over your shoulder. You can take Surya Yantrasana without the bind for sure, still beneficial. Or you can take your leg over, hook your left arm around your back, clamp your leg down on your arm as you shift and grip. Lean forward some so there's some space. And then as you get your leg long, sit up tall again. Breathing in. So it feels like your arms are squeezing your legs some.
You're not alone in that sensation. And then slowly release. Good. And then once you've got that down, your legs are going to go long and wide. Setting up for Upavishta. Right? So sometimes sitting is more than enough with this shape. While you're sitting, return to what you did in Prasarita and open your arms out wide. Turn your thumbs down. Let your shoulders wrap around. So that's what's going to potentially happen in a couple of minutes. Okay? Undo that. If you want to fold, fold over. Bowing down, you can take your hands, stack under your face. And then if you're in the fold and things are still okay, take your arms, just like Prasarita, and open your arms across your shins. And then deepen the fold. And as you get down there, you can do the roll so your shoulders close and your palms open. Have a modified Kurmasana. And then ease yourself up. And happily do that one again. I will talk you into Kurmasana, into tortoise pose, this animal that's so willing and so able to draw in when it needs to, right? If you're moving toward Kurmasana, narrow your feet a little bit and create the bend in your knees. So that when you do go inside, you're already going to have this flip where your arm rotates and tucks under. So like the squat, and then snake, snake. Think about being behind your calf. And even here, press into the back of your hand like those early rabbits and open up your chest. You can stay like that or let everything extend. Pause and puff your chest. And then see if there's some more length to one leg. Puff your chest. Maybe the other leg gets long. And then as you open your chest, just like when you were standing up, holding onto your foot in Parshvasahita, open your chest to find the length in your legs. And then take it down. Tortoise pose. And then soften and start to move your arms free. Sit up tall. And then you can narrow your legs out long in front of you. Bend your knees for this one so you can wrap underneath and hold your opposite elbows. So that even as you take in the fold, there's some softness. You can let your head hang. You can stay like this, or as your legs get long, take your fingers, interlace behind your skull, and bow into yourself. And then slowly sit yourself up. Take your hands back. Set your soles down and open up an altar pose. Open your chest. You can exhale out of your mouth. And then ease down. Have a seat. And then you can start to roll down onto your back for rest. Allow your breath to get shallow. Remember that it's the journey to the vibration. A journey away from the noise. The moon shines in my body, but my blind eyes cannot see it. The moon is within me, and so is the sun. The unstruck drum of eternity sounded within me, but my deaf ears cannot hear it. So long as man clamors for the I and the mine, his works are naught. When all love of the I and the mine is dead, then the work of the Lord is done. For work has no other aim than the getting of knowledge. When that comes, then work is put away. The flower blooms for the fruit. When the fruit comes, the flower withers. The musk is in the deer, but it seeks it not within itself. It wanders in quest of grass. Words of Kabir. Start to deepen your breath. Start to move around. Stretch your limbs, move your head. You can roll to your side and start to make your way up to sit. And then join your hands into the center of your heart. It's good to remember, we are human, right? And we need connection, we need to reach out, we need to find. But we have to recognize when the reaching out, the finding, and the seeking become hindrances. When they stop us from moving toward the self. Because once we stop moving toward the self, we cannot be of any service to ourselves or to anyone else. So practice drawing in on the regular so that when you go out, your actions are powerful, the potential's met. We are one life, we are one light, and we are one love. It is with great gratitude that I bow to the divine light in each of you. Peace be with you and blessings upon you. Thanks for tuning in.